Me?
Well,
what is up, everybody?
You know how
Hi.
much you matter to this world.
Your order office. One call. That's all.
Okay. First of all, we need to.
This holiday season is spectacular. Featuring
I,
Bean. JP Smooth. Jonathan.
okay. I think that's a little better. Leon, you have your hand raised. What's up? Good to see you.
I was just trying to work this out. My first time, I thought that was waving hello.
Oh, well, that's a good reason to raise your hand anyway. That's quite all right. Thanks for
how do I
joining.
remove it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Done.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming around. You're the New Zealander, I take it, who was posting something about the time zones and everything. I'm glad you were able to figure it out. It's nice to just be the one who sets the time, and all of you can deal with adjusting for the time zone. I know what time it is for me. So
Excellent.
what kind of banjoist are you, and how's the banjo scene there in New Zealand?
Okay, the banjo scene for me is non-existent.
Mm.
In the big cities, they do have bluegrass clubs, but I am very far north, New Zealand, which is not a banjo part of New Zealand.
Okay. I did just hang out with BB Bowness, and she's doing some shows in New Zealand. Maybe she might be there right now, but perhaps over the next few weeks. So I don't know. Maybe check in with her and see what you can find out. I assume you're familiar with her.
I am. I discovered her listening to your Picky Fingers.
Oh, cool. That's wonderful. Well, yeah, she's going back there, I think, for the holidays, and is going to be there for a few weeks. I just taught a camp with her, and she was saying she's going to go play some shows in New Zealand soon. So maybe you'll have at least, something to do.
Yeah. As far as what sort of player I am, I call myself a hack. I just try and make noise, pretty noise.
All right. Well, we're happy to have you.
My passion is building banjo, so I try and help people.
Very cool. What else? I saw a bunch of other comments come up. John, who's your ex-girlfriend? BB?
No. Jeremy and I met at Rocky Grass Academy this year, and it turns out that banjo I used to own that I traded to Sam Zickafus, Jeremy bought, and so we were like in a master class, and I was like, "Hey, that banjo." So ex-girlfriend was a little bit of a joke, but yeah, it's like I don't know, it's like seeing your ex with somebody else, right?
Right, except in like a cooler way, because it's sort of nice to see where it's been, or
Yeah, and so few of our relationships are banjo positive. So,
John, what? Oh, pardon me. What banjo was that? I know Sam, and Sam tried to sell me a banjo a while back, and I wonder if it was the same one.
Well, hey, Jeremy, you want to tell us?
I'll show you. It's let me grab it from upstairs. I'll be back.
Awesome.
All right. And we have enough people who have joined us, which is great, but it also means that I can't necessarily see all of you on the same screen. So if anyone's trying to get a word in, feel free to use the raise your hand feature, or we can just, battle royal it and just try to shout over each other. Nathan, what's up, man? Or are you
Oh,
just
I was
trying
just
it out?
I was just trying to give a thumbs up, but it didn't give me the option. It just raised my hand. So
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to be. Cool. Oh, Brian figured it out. Brian, you want to give us a tutorial on?
No, I just clocked out, man.
Right
No,
on.
I think there's some emojis. There's a row of emojis that I'm looking at, and then there's a raise your hand that's like in black and white below it. But I'm on an iMac, so what do I know?
Okay.
Hey, I got a quick question. How often? I might have two. How often do you do the all members, like VIP? Do you do that once a year, at the end of the year, or twice a year, or what?
It's been every December for the last
Right on.
couple of years.
Cool.
So I think this might be the third or fourth. I don't even remember how long I've been doing these at all. But
Perfect.
yeah, it's been like a December tradition.
Yeah. Okay. Because I
But-
remember. Right on. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I like to. Obviously, I want it to be something special to have for people who contribute, but also, I'm not going to be such a stickler that if someone really wants to join who maybe hasn't contributed, I'd probably be cool with that. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that's where you were going with it. Or
Oh
if you
no,
just wanted-
no. I'm just curious because I remembered you doing it, but it seemed like it was recent, but I guess it was a year ago. It's a good idea. And my
Yeah.
second question is I'm curious if anybody's attended or hosted a Wernick jam session or Wernick
Ooh.
method. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Nathan.
I have attended Wernick method. And what do you want to know?
Was it worth the money? And did you have a good experience? And I don't know, how was the teacher? And like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a specific question. I didn't think that far.
Yeah. That's all right. So I took one and it was like a truncated one. It was like 8 hours and it was just like jam packed. We had like 30 minutes for lunch and like breaks every 2 hours for like 10 minutes and super filled with great information. And I think I would have done much better with the other styles that I've seen advertised, like several hours, like for 5 different sessions or something like that. So it's like 2 or 3 hours for 5 nights.
Yeah.
I think I would have done better that way. I'm
Sure.
actually looking at taking more, like a longer one eventually.
Perfect.
So
Thanks.
I recommend it. It was fun.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. And I am aware of the formats, and I could probably babble about that a little bit. But what you said, one of the lead instructors shared with me similar information, so it's good to hear that from multiple sources. I can see from a student's point of view, like the 6 week, 6 Wednesdays in a row or whatever. I can see how that's ideal. From a teaching point of view, I can also see how, maybe you just want to shut down your entire weekend and do this 3 days in a row, and 6 weeks is a lot, and there's some 4 weeks, and I'm just curious if anybody has anything to say about it. I'm trying to host one next year, and I've been trying to do this for 2 years, and it's just been so I'm hoping next year, 2025 is the year I'm able to have it.
Where are you, Brian?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and I have access to a church that is being converted into a community center. So it took 2 years longer than expected, and a $200,000 installation of sprinkler system. So it's all like, I've been putting this off for 2 years basically, and anybody have anything else to say about it? Just let me know. I co-hosted one maybe 2 summers ago, 2 days out of a 3-day weekend, and it was cool. It was actually the most memorable part was when everybody sat down and confessed what they wanted to do that weekend or said why they were there. That was probably the most eye-opening experience because it wasn't like, it was definitely more of a social deal than like I want to be better at jamming. It was like my wife tells me I need to socialize with other people. My physician says that I need to socialize with other people besides my physician. Like really interesting stuff. And I was like, oh wow, this is different. You know, this isn't necessarily what I was expecting, but you know, it was cool. It was eye-opening.
It sounds like they need to know about the VIP lounges, which are every month.
Yeah, right. That's yeah, exactly.
Dennis, you have your hand raised. I keep muting you, by the way. It sounded like you have quite a bit of sound bleed coming through, so I don't know if you have a way of making it only come through your earbuds, but you need to unmute yourself if you had a comment. Are you there, Dennis?
Yes, there we go.
Okay, cool.
So, I was going to comment that I've been to a Wernick weekend-long program in Peoria, Illinois, and it started on a Friday night, and Friday night from like 5 until 9 or something like that. We started out all day Saturday till about 5 or 6 o'clock. And then Sunday morning, we put on like a concert for family and friends and that type of thing. And it was really well worth the time and the money. I don't exactly remember how much it was, but it wasn't a fortune. The guy that was teaching it his name was Larry Kernagus or something like that. And did an excellent job of making everybody feel comfortable. And we had a great variety of people present, everywhere from people that were basically just starting out to people that really could carry the program. And it was worth it. I would highly recommend it if you have the opportunity. Now, my experience was just with that one particular teacher, so I'm sure that it varies from teacher to teacher to some extent, but it was very worthwhile. I would highly recommend it.
Hey, thanks. I really appreciate it. That's who I co-hosted the jam session with, Larry. And yeah, he's clearly like super, super experienced. Like clearly he's been doing this since before I was born or something. But and he's got like a drama background. Like he knows how to work a room. He is really skilled. So it was great to see him work. And that's so cool being here and everybody say the same thing. That's great. I need to get on this. I'll let you know how it goes.
Now, isn't there like a orientation or a training that you have to be involved in? Have you already done that?
Yeah, so the training, if you want me to be blunt, was like, so I filled out an online thing trying to contact Pete and was like, I'm interested. And he like called me and within 90 minutes, he called me on the phone. And I had a student here and I'm like, you know, I mean, I've met Pete a number of times and I'm like, I don't know if I should take this phone call. I took it and he you know, he introduced himself and he talked about the program. And I mean, it was like a 90-minute talk, but it was mostly him talking. And that was the training. And I understand he made himself clear, like, but yeah, it was cool. And they really organized and they picked good tunes. And like I said, I met a few of his instructors and it's just great to hear positive things. It was yeah, it's just great to hear positive things. And I really like the social aspect. Like I find that, you know, I teach a lot of adults and I'm just like, you know, the more we can get you all in a room together and understand that like I'm having the same conversation with all 15 of you. Like we keep talking about the same 10 things. Like you need to know that there's other people in this town that like they're fighting the same battle you are. And at this point, I think some of you could learn more from each other than me. So I'm just trying to like figure out how to put the adults in groups because and just based on the feedback of, you know, hey, why am I here? It's just the social component's pretty amazing. I'm a certified music therapist and I showed up to this jam session like, great, I can't wait to take off this music therapy hat and get into some bluegrass. And then all the feedback I'm getting about it, like, where'd that music therapy hat go? Because you guys are tugging at me like really hard to it is an environment, and everybody's kind of like nervous, and so that kind of makes them more or less chatty, and but you don't want to talk too much, of course. But it just struck me as a very social environment, and I'm really excited for my friends that are opening this social club. And so I'd be hosting this in like 100-year-old church in the actual chapel. And if we're going to do performances on Sunday, we're probably going to be on a former altar, it looks like. So so it should be interesting. They've converted all this into a community space, and there's a golf simulator in this old church. And so it's a unique environment. I think people would enjoy it. They'd be a little wowed by it.
Yeah, cool. That sounds
Yeah.
promising.
Yeah, I think so. Yep, I got to get on it. I got to make it happen. Pete says it's got to be done by June. He started waiting for me.
Chris, you have your hand raised, and then Jeremy, I promise we'll get back to you to show off the banjo we were talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with what a Wernick jam. Can y'all just give me some background on that? And Brian, years and years ago, my bachelor's was in music therapy. So.
No way. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
from Florida
incredible.
State.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Long time ago.
Dang. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You can look up wernickmethod.org. Maybe that might be, I think that's what, where you could get a lot of information. wernickmethod.org. That's probably where you want to go to get all the info.
Okay.
It's easy.
How's it
essentially it's a jam oriented camp run in some sense by Pete Wernick, who you're probably familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And he just has his own kind of brand of pedagogy, I guess you'll call it, and approach. And he I don't know if license is the right word, but you get trained how to use his method. And people like Brian, who are, skilled teachers anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world, I guess, can become Wernick method teachers. And then you have like this infrastructure and resources that come along with that, I guess. I don't know. Is that a fair
You're great.
way to describe it? Okay.
You get an A. You did better than I could at this point.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to know, some clarification. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like how violin teachers are Suzuki teachers. It's sort of like the same thing as that.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, let's take a look at this banjo. And if I'm not you popped off my screen here. So are you still there?
Yeah, I'm around.
Okay. Is this
Yeah, I
the
don't
same
know.
one that I got to check out too?
Yeah,
Last summer? Cool.
That's right. Yeah, I guess
All
I don't know why we're talking about it because it's not like a 1935 Granada or anything like that. But
well, it's John's old banjo.
It's John's, and you played it, and apparently someone had.
I still get emails about this banjo.
Oh, it's because it's on Reverb. I've got it bookmarked, so when I need to look up what the bridge height is, because I keep forgetting, that's where I find it. But this is John. Was it you who had it made? No, it was Paul out here, right?
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah. So there's a guy out here in a band called Pick and Howl. I can't remember his last name, but his name's Paul, and I guess he had this commissioned where the rumor I heard was that he or Yates, one of the two, had access to Gnome's RB banjo. Technically, it's a PB, I think. And so they took all the measurements and stuff and made one that's got this stupid extended fingerboard, and it's a top tension, and it's got a really nice curvature to the neck, curved bridge, high bridge. But at the same time, it's got really good playability. It's I switched back to a regular banjo, and there's just no room right here by the bridge, and I'm so able to overshoot the strings on this thing. It's still not banging into the head, so I really like playing this banjo.
Who made it, Jeremy?
It is Yates is the maker, but Yates doesn't make top tension hardware, and so the top tension hardware came from Puka, I think, and then I think someone called Coleman or something like that made the neck. So
Write
it's
it all down
probably
and keep it with the banjo, so when you sell it, everybody knows where it came from.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah, it's a Yates pot. It's Pruka hardware. Clancy Mullins made the top tension style resonator, Ron Coleman made the neck, and Ron Coleman assembled everything and did the fit and finish.
Okay. And like
And it was 100% because Paul wanted a replica of Gnome's banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of cheaped out and did like tiny inlays. These aren't as big as the regular
I think
inlays.
Gnome's neck also has smaller
Maybe.
Art Deco inlays. I always like that aspect of it, but
Yeah, I guess maybe I was talking with Max Allard from the banjo player from Chicago, and he's got and he's got a top tension too, and it's got the big inlays. So I guess I was comparing against his.
I mean, I'd be interested to find out how many 5-string necks Gibson actually made for when they were making top tension banjos. It's probably, in the low 2 digits. So I think all interpretations are valid.
Okay.
And I guess there's also potentially an issue of whether the size would be different on a style 12 versus an 18. That would really surprise me if it was different, knowing how Gibson is.
Size?
What's that?
The inlay size?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if it was different, because they're not one to not be efficient about that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. I'd be surprised if it was consistent in either direction.
And also that.
Yeah. Well, if they also had an extremely finite number of them, it's like they probably had a couple around that were little and a couple that were big, and they're like, "Oh, which one of these do we like? I don't know. Just slap them on. We'll decide later."
I just bought that Joe Spann book, so if you give me 2 hours to read it, I'll have the number for you in just a minute. Ken, you have your hand raised too.
Oh yeah, I was going to go back to the previous topic, and just to clarify for Chris about Wernick method, independent of what Brian and the others said about what the teachers learn, Wernick method for the students and the attendees is a jam class. It's not an instrumental workshop on your specific, you don't go there to learn banjo stuff or learn guitar, mandolin stuff. It's a jam class for people who are inexperienced in playing with others. And so it's to get people over the course of the sessions. Like here in the DC area, Ira Gitlin teaches Wernick method, and he does it over multiple days, or maybe one day per weekend for 3 weekends in a row. But his is multiple sessions. But the idea is that by the end of it, you have the skills to jam. And maybe that skill is, if you're a banjo player, maybe you still can't do anything more than vamp on the chords. Maybe you can do a basic thumb index, thumb middle. Maybe you can play a simple rolling. But the idea is getting those basic skills so you can get out and play with other people. That's all.
One thing I like about Wernick is how many people in this room started off by learning Cripple Creek, which is the most subtle, difficult song there is.
And who didn't?
And Pete Wernick's like, no, you got to learn something easier first. It's like, learn Jambalaya by Hank Williams. That one's 2 chords, and it's not this insane timing thing.
Oh yeah, I commented on that on a banjo hangout many years ago. So it's really ridiculous. Like the way that banjo is taught mainly, or people learn, they start with some rolls, and here's some chord shapes, and everything is all the rolls. Here's some 8-note roll patterns, and everything is nice and even, and everything's going to fill a measure. And then they throw Cripple Creek at you with the first thing is, forget the roll. You're going to start on a count before the measure. You're going to hit a note, and you're going to slide, and the slide's going to cross the measure. And then you're going to play quarter notes backwards. Oh, but we didn't learn that yet. It's a ridiculous song. It has nothing to do with the exercises that you've learned before your first song. Anyway, down off my soapbox.
But also, for what it's worth, when I was gifted a banjo and had to figure out what to do with it, I was a full-time professional jazz guitarist. And by the time I got things up to a level and found a bluegrass jam nearby, I had no idea what to do in that bluegrass jam. And like the social structure of it, while similar to what I had done before, was different enough that like I had no idea what was going on. And like I think the Wernick idea of like if we can't teach people how to play music, let's teach people how to jam and teach people like the social aspect of the music is like something that, you know, even I as a professional musician would have benefited from. And I really, really appreciate that they do those camps. And whenever they come to Austin, I recommend all the beginners I know attend them because they're a really valuable resource.
Very cool. Well, yeah, Brian, let us know how it works out.
I will. I promise.
Yeah. And if not, then let us know how your golf game is doing working on the simulator.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I will. Yeah, the place is pretty. Place is pretty out there. It's the Lindenwood Park Place, and 100-year-old chapel, repurposed chapel.
Great. Who else has something else they want to discuss or ask about or demonstrate on their banjo? Or someone's got to have something. All these new people.
I just hopped in. Figured.
Oh yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty good.
You weren't even on my screen there for a second.
It's like, oh, where'd he come from?
Yeah.
No, like one thing that I recently started doing. I don't know why I had never thought of this before, or why, like what triggered it. But I started keeping a practice journal. To like kind of, I got to this point. I'm like, I feel like every time I sit down to practice, I'm like all over the place, and like, oh yeah, I was working on that, or wait, what was I working on before, or and even like day to day, like because I try and like practice at least an hour a day, and day to day, like I couldn't tell you what I was trying to figure out the day before.
Wow.
So and I was just like, I just started taking a journal and just kind of like really like making sure that I like just after I practiced, like make a couple notes here and there while I'm practicing, but then like sitting down and like going back and just kind of reflecting on what I just worked on, how I felt about it, like what tools I was using. And doing that is like just streamlined like my practice like immensely. I feel like I've found things that have like really, really just helped, like that I had thought about but didn't really implement. So
yeah,
I don't know if anybody else does that.
So how? Tell me more about it, because like what am I trying to get at? How specific are you? Are you like, today I learned a single string style solo on Whiskey Before Breakfast and got it up to 115 BPM? Is it that kind of granularity? Or
it's in some parts. I kind of like it's helped me to kind of like, I narrowed down a good way to like warm up, like instead of just jumping in. It helped me kind of like, okay, I feel like I would try and just dive right into whatever I was like trying to focus on, and my fingers weren't warmed up, and like my mental space wasn't there. So like it like made me realize that and go, okay, what do I need to do to warm up? So now I like kick on some music, some bluegrass music, just put on something random, just like I have like whatever channel of random bluegrass songs.
Yeah.
Just to see if there's anything else that like kind of comes across my radar that to inspire me, and just kind of like just like shake myself out. I know there's a couple like YouTube channels that people like talk about like stretching out your fingers and stuff like that before you jump in. But simply like doing that, and then just like once I feel like I have my blood circulating and my brain circulating, then I pick up my banjo and just set my metronome at like 60 and just like not play like roll patterns at that speed, but play roll patterns, the notes at every click. So it's just super slow, super mundane. But I do that. I try and like do that just for like, I'll set a timer for like 10, 15 minutes, and just to kind of like really get myself warmed up. And then like, so things like that, just making notes as I go. I feel like it's, I don't know. But
Very
yeah,
interesting.
pretty
Yeah.
detailed.
And you feel like that's helping you more or less?
Yeah. I feel like when I get into like where I'm like, okay, this is what I'm working on. Like right now, like I'm working on Appalachian Rain by Seldom Seen. Which is really like you're just really, really fiddly. So like just playing, like trying to learn that, like trying to dive right into that. Like my hands weren't in the right place, my brain wasn't in the right place. Whereas now, like diving into that, I feel like I've like already had the song, the basics of the first two breaks figured out. I can't play them up to speed at all, but it's like my hands were ready for it. My brain was ready for it.
Yeah.
I feel like I've
that's
been
cool.
picking it up a lot faster than I would have.
Maybe one of you can tell me, I don't know if this was on a podcast interview or if it was just a conversation that I was having with someone, but somebody had a really interesting idea, and they said, every time you pick up your band, whatever the first thing is you play for that day, try to make it something you've never played before. And I thought that was like a really interesting way to start your practice session, is like, I'm picking it up for the day, and what is something new? And it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just because I think we all fall victim, definitely I do, into just going straight to noodle mode, and it's always the same crap that you always do. Maybe every once in a while you'll stumble on something kind of neat, but it's just a good way to break yourself out of something like that, I think. And of course, I haven't really implemented that very well, but I always think about what it would mean to try to think of something new to play every single day.
Yeah, I tend to like try, like with this new like practice, I've noticed that I've tended to try and push my noodly stuff and the stuff that I know to the end to kind of like push that into speed mode.
Okay.
To try and like push that further. Whereas like the stuff that I'm trying to sit down and learn after I've warmed myself up, kind of like focus and really like pick it apart. And then whatever I like did the day before, I try and go back and like play that and be more precise with it.
Yeah,
like
something to build on.
Yeah. And that's where it's helped, like keeping notes of like what I'm working on. It's definitely helped me like go back the next day. Whereas before, like I wasn't doing that at all. So
yeah, that's amazing. Nathan.
Yeah, I also keep a practice journal. So that it definitely helps. And then Josh Turnkett, the banjo guy, if you listen to his like podcasts or his like neuroscience banjo, like their banjo tips through the filter of his neuroscience, it's super fascinating to understand like what you practice and how you practice it, and the like amount of focus you put in actually then goes into the retention. And so I'd like read his book and listened to his podcast, and I started to try to adjust my practice by like adhering to some of his principles, like only 15 minutes on a certain part, like per practice session. I mean, you can take a break and go back to it, but all at once, if you're trying to like learn something new, like give yourself that time. And so I started to like build out like almost like a practice schedule, and I would just set up like an app on my phone with the timer, and it would just go off. And would like follow that. And I found when I like adhere to that very strictly, I improved quite a bit. So not only it just kind of occurred to me too. And then when I would write about my practice session, I'm also cementing whatever learning I did through my ears and my fingers through writing. And it's like a different part of my brain kind of putting that in. So I wonder if that's another way that you're like helping yourself learn.
Could be. You guys are way better at this than me. I don't do any of that. I've always been really bad about having like structured practice time. I'm really good at being focused. If I decide like here's a tune I want to learn, and maybe this goes against what you just said, Nathan, about the 15 minutes, but like I'll spend day after day, hammering out something that I really want to get done when I have that goal. But other than that, it's just off the cuff noodling for me.
I'm sure there's like parts of your brain that know the parts of that song in chunks. And so that's why maybe it's a different thing as a much more skilled and experienced player than myself. But yeah.
That and everybody learns differently. Like that's something that,
totally.
Yeah. I know I learn completely different from everybody else I've ever met. So,
everybody learns differently, but I think if there's one thing I've learned from my life in music is like, and not just music, but like the idea of like stopping after 15 minutes makes so much sense. Because for me, like if I just hammer and hammer and hammer at something, like I might not get it. And then I go to sleep and my brain just does the magical brain sleep stuff and like just processes all the work I did. And then the next day I can come back and it's like so much better. And like, I think there's at least that bit of it like speaks to me as a profound truth. Like you shouldn't hammer at this stuff. Like you do the work to the point you can do the work and then you let your brain sort it out. Like at least that bit like really, really speaks to me, what you're talking about.
Agreed. Any other genius practicing tips? Who else has one?
Yeah, genius. Speak up, please.
Well, recently I've been taking pretty much everything I've learned and try and make it all fit. So just play a snippet of everything and make it transition to the next piece.
You mean like segue from one piece of music to the next?
Yeah, I might start with a Cripple Creek and jump straight out of it into a different tune and link 10 together and try and make it flow, try and make it connect.
Oh, that's an interesting exercise. Yeah.
I feel like there's an Osborne song that does that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some good Sonny Osborne videos, but I think they intentionally make them relate, and I don't know. No, that's fun, especially if you get a few that are in different keys or different kind of tempo feels. That'd be a really cool exercise.
Yeah, I bring it all into one tempo. So if it's a fast tune, I'm taking a bit and I'm keeping the tempo through the whole string of tunes.
Yeah. Very cool. And eventually, I don't know, you said you don't really have too many folks to play with, but eventually that's the kind of thing that can lead into like band arrangements that you teach other people, is if you have cool transitions between songs and different tunes. That's what you can build off of.
Well, I've discovered there's a music club here. They don't play bluegrass. So I'm trying to teach myself the fretboard so I can join their music. So at least I can play with someone.
What kind of things are they doing?
It could be anything from Bob Dylan to, Eagles.
Yeah, that's pretty common over here too, to be honest. If you go to something that is going to be serious bluegrass, that's one thing, but other than that, like your general acoustic jams that might happen, yeah, you'll get a lot of Grateful Dead, a lot of Bob Dylan, a lot of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Leon, where in New Zealand are you?
I am in a place called Batu Fifi. I'm about 100 kilometers from the very tip of the island, North Island.
Wow.
And I'm sitting on the ocean. I'm surrounded by ocean at the moment.
That's amazing.
Wish I were there.
It's hot.
We went to New Zealand for a honeymoon about I should know the exact number, but 12 or 13 years ago, something like that. But the furthest north we got was like Wahiki.
Okay, yeah, we're a long way, many hours away.
Quite a bit further north than that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Nathan or Ken, what are you working on? Share with us. You can't be playing on screen and not have me say something about it.
I'm sorry, I was just doing some unfocused noodling there in the background.
That's my specialty.
I can't play anything for you guys. I always crash and burn when I try to play during the call. I did, I posted a video to your Facebook group today.
Oh, okay. I don't think I got a chance to see it.
I invite people to go see that. It was the video I posted to the Facebook group is my arrangement of Somewhere from West Side Story.
Okay.
I tried to play it live in the group here, and it goes on from there.
Okay.
But I posted it to the group, and it's on Facebook. I invite you to see that.
I saw that. It sounded great. Congratulations.
So thank you. But show tunes is the things I've been working on a lot. Upcoming, I've grown accustomed to her face. Oops.
Nice work. I need to do more of that kind of stuff, especially I've been realizing, especially because I'm not much of a singer. And as I do a lot of these camps now, there's always like the instructor showcase. And so I don't really have very many like solo banjo pieces that I can do. And by not very many, like probably none that are really arranged for solo banjo. So I'm not a singer, so I'm always just scrambling to figure out like who wants to pick a fiddle tune with me or whatever. It'd be cool to have some chord melody type stuff up my sleeve for those situations.
Well, I've already tabbed this one out, and as soon as I as soon as I get it recorded and posted, I'll also make the tab available. Like I'll put it, I've posted it at the Banjo Hangout, but anybody who writes to me, I'll be happy to send them the tab.
Ken, Ken, I think you answered this, but that's your arrangement, right? That's
totally my arrangement. I've never heard anybody else play it on the banjo. And the short version, I put them, when I choose a song, I say, hey, that sounds like it's got possibility. One of the first things I do is look for solo guitar players. Say, well, who has done it? Who has done it on guitar? That sounds about right. And then, as luck would have it, James Taylor actually covered it on some album. And so the version that I do, I borrow chords from like 3 or 4 different sources. I have different versions of the sheet music. Some I like this section better than the others. And I got an idea for one chord change from James Taylor. It might have been the change at the end. The second time through, when that change sort of signals that the end of the song is coming up. I think I got it. But the arrangement itself is all mine. I find the chords, I find a key that works, and then it's just trial and error. And that's the time, going back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, most of my practice is unfocused noodling. And I don't spend anywhere near as enough time working on technique as I should. I mean, I've been in Noam's Artist Work School for 2 or 3 years now, and I've done a few single string lessons, but I still can't do anything in single string because I don't sit down and focus and work on that. But when I have one of these songs to work on, I'm just so single-minded. I will work for a couple hours just on 2 phrases together. And then once I get the phrase I've chosen what it's going to be, then I have to work more time to even play it cleanly. So these arrangements that I do, I'm very focused, but the rest of the time I practice, it's noodling and it leads nowhere.
Yeah.
Ken, for what it's worth, I mean, what motivates us to practice is things that we are interested in and things we want to do. Like you could say you haven't, taken your vitamins or whatever, but like you're spending your time doing things that you want to do and develop and like following where like your interests naturally lead you. And like, I mean, yeah, if you want to spend 10 minutes here and there working on right hand technique, that's fine. But like if where your interests are naturally leading you is to arrangements like that, like that's kind of an awesome thing to do with your time and life. Like, God bless, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I sort of think the more I do these, the more I'm able to do more of them. And I think that once I come up with a song that needs single string, or that I think needs single string, then I'll learn single string. Like there's some 6 or 8 note. Yeah, there's 4, 5, and 6 note single string passages in somewhere, but that's not enough to get me somewhere in terms of learning single string. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think once I finally really need it, then I'll make the time and I'll learn it for the context of that song. But thank you for your comments, John. I love hearing them, and I appreciate the feedback. And tonight I got through a song without crashing and burning. I just had to stop one time. One final thought. This song is not particularly hard to play, but it's one of the most challenging things I play because I don't know what the chords are. These chords, things like that. They don't relate. Like when you're jamming on a 1-4-5 song, you know what you're going next. There's lots of chords in there, and I don't really know what they are. I knew what they were when I wrote them down, but I haven't internalized them. So there's nothing about the playing that says, oh, this resolves to here, this resolves to here. I'm not going to anything natural. I have to memorize it. And if I don't remember, then it falls apart.
Yeah. Hey, John, I have a question for you. Since you spent time in the jazz world, how much did you study about using triad pairs? Is that an approach or a concept that you're familiar with?
Have you been talking to Adam Larrabee?
No, but it's sort of coming to me via Wes Corbett, who
Yeah.
does talk to Adam Larrabee.
Yeah. I mean, the answer is in the jazz world, I was aware of the concept. I didn't use it a lot, but it seems to keep coming up in the banjo world.
Yeah, every time I look it up, it's saxophone people talking about it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So whatever. I didn't know if there was more to say about how you have used them, or it sounds like maybe not as much. But
I mean, so Adam taught a class on that 2 years ago at the Bela camp.
okay.
The main thing I'll say about triad pairs, or that sounded more pretentious than I thought it would, but the main thing I have to say about that is that if the consonant extensions of a dominant seventh chord lie a whole step above the tones of the basic chord, so like that's where you get, like, if you have 1 3 5 7 for a dominant seventh chord, that's where you get the 9, the sharp 11, and the 13. But at least where Adam Larrabee was coming at it was like a pretty different, like maybe that was a basic concept of it, but it got pretty weird from there.
Okay, and I
Sorry,
think
this is not helpful. I'm really
well. I think where you are is essentially where I'm stuck at. Is sort of like I understand the concept, but I don't know how to like execute it or.
Yeah, I think the banjo thing, like, so if you've got like a big modal dominant seventh thing, I think the idea of using a dominant seventh or a triad pair where you have like the flat 7 and the root,
Yeah.
like, and you're just moving up sixth up the neck between the two, is like an example of like taking that and building it into a lick that makes a lot of sense. Outside of like building licks, I'm a little skeptical of like applying theory like that to the Scruggs based banjo stuff. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Just wondering.
Yeah.
I'll let you know if I have any revelations.
No, send me all your licks. I want them.
I don't have any. I just noodle. I really don't.
Hey, can you guys keep a secret? There's only like 15 of us here, right? Something like
on
that.
The video that's going to be posted on the internet. Yeah.
Okay, never mind then. Nope, no good. Sorry.
No, go for it.
Nope, can't. It's gonna be posted on the internet. Can't do it. I'll tell you on Saturday.
Oh well, I can promise not to post it until after Saturday.
Okay. Okay. Don't. It doesn't fucking matter. It's fine. I used the F word. I'm sorry. I was accepted into IBMA Leadership Bluegrass this year.
That's really cool.
Unbelievably excited. I've been applying for the past couple of years. And I can't tell anybody because I'm not supposed to until they officially announce it. But everyone has to respond affirmatively by Friday. So what the heck? Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I'm so excited.
I've had many people tell me that that's an excellent experience, and recommend perhaps that I do it, and I've never even. I don't know. It's just one of those things that I always think would be a cool idea and never get around to actually applying. So I'll be curious to hear what your experience is of that.
I'll tell you all about it. It's in March. They accept 24 people a year, and every thanks, Nathan. But like with one exception, every single person I've known has had to apply for 2 or 3 years until they got it.
So I should get started.
Yeah, you'd be an A+ candidate, buddy. Like that'd be incredible. But anyway, it took me a couple of years, but I get to go next year, and I'm just beyond excited. I'm so incredibly psyched.
And what is your understanding of your obligations or duties? What's the deal?
Yeah, so essentially it's a what do you call it? Like a corporate skill development program specifically focused on the bluegrass nonprofit world. However, some people there are bluegrass performers, some people are involved in bluegrass nonprofits. But it's just like a chance for bluegrass professionals in whatever capacity to sit around and develop ideas and work on hopefully moving the thing forward.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'll be curious. I know I've heard all about like, the main meeting they have, which is I guess must be the March thing. But I guess I'm less familiar with like what happens after that.
Yeah, I'm interested in learning that too. I mean, the official thing is 3 days in March, and then
Is that in Nashville?
In Nashville, yeah. But like for instance, the treasurer of my bluegrass organization did this some years ago, and he still has like an active chat with the people from his class, So, I guess it has long legs, but I really don't know. But I'm really psyched. I just found out yesterday. So.
And I suppose you probably have no clue who else is in this year's group yet, right?
I'm not supposed to tell you guys, so
Okay.
They certainly haven't told me. Yeah.
No problem. Well, that's great. Something to look forward to hearing about.
Oh,
Sure.
I'm psyched. I'm so psyched.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Who else haven't we heard from? Willie, how you doing, man? You've been sitting there listening patiently.
I'm just enjoying all the conversation. I'd been to Wernick's camp about 10, 12 years ago with Pete for a full weekend. It was awesome. I'm taking notes as we were talking of things I need to do. Some of them I need to do again, and that's going to be one of them. So great to hear from everybody. Also, I want a great episode with the Tone Dexter. I appreciate that very much. I haven't bought the box yet, but I'm going to wait for your next input on it, and then I'll go for it.
The next one I've already recorded. I used 3 different pickups and 5 different microphones, so it'll be sound samples of like every permutation
cool.
of all that. And to be scientific about it, I played the same passage every time, so you're going to hear me play the exact same like
Cripple Creek
45 seconds worth of music over and over and over. I'm already dreading editing it. But
good.
whatever.
Good. That's great. I'm working on O'Carolyn's Dream and melodic Old Joe Clark that I'm still kind of working on from someone who sang at a concert I went to. So just dabbling in newer stuff and some stuff that I already know that I'm trying to change a little bit. I'm an off and on kind of a logging guy in my banjo practice book. I'm fairly consistent from day to day with what I'm working on, trying to build and memorize the stuff and get it down to a muscle memory kind of thing. And I've just spent the last 3 or 4 weeks moving, so I've got to get back into it. I haven't been on it lately, but great to hear from everybody, especially those down under and in various places. It's great to be a part of the group. Enjoying it very much.
Yeah. And I know you were down in Texas, right? Did you move like just across town or what?
Yeah, just across town. I bought another house and moved over to that for now. So yeah, I'm in the Houston area, so I'll probably make it out to Austin and maybe find the Wernick camp out there that I've seen it online before, and I'll just have to subscribe to that and go see that.
Hey,
We'll do
Willie,
that.
I'm actually president of the Central Texas Bluegrass Association.
Oh, great.
So please find us online, and the next Wernick camp that is happening in Austin is in March.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look at it, and if there's any room, I'll join it. I need to probably do that several times, but yeah, thanks, John. Perfect.
Yeah, centraltexasbluegrass.org.
Okay.
Also, Keith, sorry, I took up a lot of time. Just real quick, I think you got the impression I really liked your Bob Black episode. I actually went and transcribed his Bluegrass in the Backwoods, and then I actually emailed him. I was just like, "Do you have this transcribed? Like, if you ever written out, I'll check it against mine." And he did, and was very, very nice, and emailed me back. And I just posted a link in the chat in case anyone wants to check that out.
I'm laughing because you've had to say email you back and
It's
bluegrass in the backwoods.
Really me up.
And
I'm
you
doing
keep
my
wanting
best.
to say bluegrass in the blackwoods. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing my best.
Although, man, maybe you'll appreciate then. I realized only a couple days too late that I missed a golden opportunity to have released his episode on Black Friday.
Right.
I think I missed it by like 3 days, but I didn't even think about it. But then once Black Friday got there, I was like, oh, I whiffed on that. But
yeah.
Oh well.
But anyway, I meant to share. So if anyone's interested, it's in the chat.
Yeah. That's really cool, and I'm glad he got back with you. He's a very nice dude, as you
couldn't
tell.
be a nicer dude. Like yeah.
100%. All right, everyone. Any other parting words of wisdom or stupidity or embarrassment? Anything else? All right. Well, it's great to see you all.
You have Ken had his physical hand up. Was that goodbye or?
I only recognize virtual.
No, I was just waving goodbye.
Exactly. Well, take care, everyone. Happy holidays. See you next
thanks,
time.
Keith. Great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Very cool.